Well, thank you, Chairman Merkley and Ranking Member Murkowski and members of the subcommittee. I'm grateful for the opportunity to appear before you today to discuss the EPA's President's Budget request for fiscal year 2022. For half a century, EPA has worked hard to provide the American people with clean air to breathe, clean water to drink, and safe, healthy land. EPA's dedicated career staff at our headquarters in Washington, D.C. and throughout the 10 regions work every day to improve the lives of our people across this great nation and have risen to the occasion presented to us through the COVID-19 pandemic. Earlier this month, President Biden sent to Congress EPA's budget request for $11.2 billion. If enacted, this budget would help ensure that EPA continues to meet its essential mandate by providing the resources necessary to confront our environmental challenges, especially in our overburdened communities. EPA's mission is to protect human health and the environment. To achieve these goals, we must have resources to help all communities across the nation who are on the front lines of protecting public health and cleaning up pollution. That's why almost 50% of the President's budget request for EPA supports EPA's state and tribal partners through the State and Tribal Assistance Grant Program. State and tribal leaders know their communities better than the federal government ever could. It is also why the budget of every place-based program, from the San Francisco Bay to the Chesapeake Bay, was increased. These programs are key to managing and accelerating the restoration of our nation's treasured water bodies, which help sustain local and regional economies. Ensuring access to clean and safe water for all Americans is another priority for this administration. At EPA, we've seen that investing in water infrastructure is a win-win for public health and for economic development. The 2022 budget provides $3.6 billion to EPA to rebuild our water infrastructure with targeted increases to our state revolving loan funds. These programs assist states, tribes, and territories with infrastructure projects that help provide clean water and safe water management in all communities across the country. Water infrastructure investments, however, only represent one aspect of clean and safe water. The agency will also invest resources and expand efforts to address the pervasive and persistent chemicals known as PFAS in our drinking water. As part of the President's commitment to tackle PFAS pollution, the budget provides approximately $75 million to accelerate toxicity studies and funds research to inform our regulatory process. Additional funds for technical assistance grants have also been set aside for state and local governments to deal with PFAS contamination in their own communities. Under the President's leadership, we are taking action to tackle climate change to ensure a livable planet for our future generations. This budget invests in programs that will help reduce greenhouse gas emissions, including $100 million for air quality grants directly to states and tribes to tackle emission levels on a local and regional scale. An additional $30 million will help improve the knowledge of the impacts of climate change on human health and the environment through our scientific research programs. Much like climate change, environmental justice underpins all of our work. The pandemic ignited a perfect storm for communities of color and low-income communities who already bear the highest burdens of pollution, suffer the highest rates of mortality from heart and lung disease, and recently COVID-19 as well. The budget invests $936 million toward new accelerating environmental and economic justice initiatives for efforts across the agency that will help create jobs, clean up pollution, and secure environmental justice for communities who have been left behind far too often. In the 40 years since Congress' creation of the Superfund program, we've made significant progress, but much work remains to be done. Under my leadership, EPA will do everything in its power to hold responsible parties accountable for environmental degradation and return land to safe and productive use for communities. Our budget provides $882 million for Superfund remedial programs to clean up America's most contaminated land. That's a $293 million increase. Our budget provides $882 million for Superfund remedial programs to clean up America's most contaminated land, reduce emissions of toxic substances, and respond to environmental emergencies, oil spills, and natural disasters. Chairman and members of the subcommittee, the fiscal year 2022 budget will help ensure EPA can meet the interconnected health and environmental crisis we face, lift up communities who have long been left behind, and put the nation on a prosperous path to economic recovery. And EPA is ready to meet those challenges. So thank you for the opportunity to testify today, and I look forward to your continued partnership and welcome any questions that you might have. Thank you.